Hi, Miss Lark Bahar here, and I'm here to show you one of my favorite half updos that's perfect for a day when your hair still has a little bit of life in it from however you set your hair, but not quite enough to let the look go. Or it could just be that you want a slightly more youthful 40s look. So let's go and get started. So the things you're going to need are a brush to brush your hair out, a teasing brush or comb. I personally find that the brushes work better on my hair. Something with a sharp tip so you can part your hair, or you can just use your fingers, that's up to you. Hairspray. I personally use this, but I'm still looking for a new kind of hairspray. Or some kind of pomade, and this is just going to help you smooth out your hair at the end and kind of keep the flyaways intact, since this isn't going from fresh hair. And then lastly, you're going to want bobby pins, and then some sort of accessory, though it's completely optional. I like to use scarves, and then I end up tying them around if I want a more youthful look, or I'll put a hat on. As long as it fits just on the back, then it'll look great with this hairdo. So that part's completely up to you, and you can play around with accessories. So this hairstyle definitely needs hair that's already been set, and you can do it at any stage of your set. So when you first set it, it's fine, or you can wait till the very end of the set. In my case, my set lasts a week, so this is the type of thing that I would do towards the end of the week for a looser, more 40s look. So the first thing you want to do is part your hair down the middle. And I did a 60s do yesterday, so I have a bit of back combing still in there, so it's a bit more tangled than usual. Okay, so now part it in two. Essentially what this look is emulating is a Hedy Lamarr type of middle part with the top part volumized. But if you're like me and you're particularly doing this not on the first day of your set, so your hair is a bit flatter and smoother, then you need a little extra oomph for that volume. So what you're going to do is section off about this much of the hair and go all the way down to the ear. And I like to get a hair tie for this, actually, so that I can pull back the back parts. So once you have that separated, pull the rest of your hair in a ponytail, because this is just going to be down and smooth in the back. So then we have two sections, about the same amount of hair on each side, relatively straight, but it really doesn't matter if this part's straight at all. And this part is essentially like a really loose, lazy victory roll. So you're going to want to take your hairspray and get the insides here on both sides. Take your teasing brush or comb and start going at it. And for this look, you're mostly going to want the volume at the base here, so you don't want to tease down there. So once your hair is teased on both sides, you're going to want to take it, and at this point you can use some pomade and smooth it over right here as you're working. And you're just going to twist it once or twice, and then press it down against your scalp and slowly slide up so it creates a bump. And I like to slide kind of diagonally because you still want just as much volume down here as you have up there. So then you should have it nice and flat against your head, and just bobby pin in place. Crisscross to make sure it's stable. And then leave these strands back here kind of loose. So then do the same thing. You can use pomade again to smooth there if you'd like. Make sure there are no extra strands from your ponytail that slipped out. It happens to me with frizzies a lot. So take it up, twist once or twice, skull, and then press it up until it looks about even to the other side. And if you notice a kind of gap forming, if you saw it when I did it like that, see right there, then that means you need to tease more. And that happens wherever you have thinner hair, and that is the spot that always does it for me. So I have to do a lot of extra teasing there. And then sometimes I have to end up just camouflaging it with a pin. See, it's still pretty sparse. But if you twist it a bit tighter, sometimes that can solve your problem. So you can go and try that, and then there. Solved, about even. Tilt your head up to check to make sure the volume's even, and then pin in place. Crisscross to make sure it's stable. And you want to be able to try to pin as close to where the curl touches in the back as possible. So you'll see my bangs are going different directions because I set my hair for a bang that way. And what I do often is just cheat and pin it right here so that it looks like I intentionally kind of had it going like that. But I'll show you that at the end. That's always what I do with the finished look. So now we have these straggly little ends here, and what we're going to do is just work them into that tube so that you can carry the tube through a bit longer. So all you do is just gently work it around, and then this part you can kind of flip, and then see it carries it down. Is nice and even as a shape, and it's going to, when you tie your hair up or put a hat on or whatever, it's going to fit it, flow in really nicely to the rest of your hair. Okay, so then this side, same thing. Take all those extra scraggly little strands and just bring them around to the front. And it should be pretty easy. Sometimes there will be one or two curls that don't want to cooperate, but there are always hairpins for that, and sometimes I will specifically just create a pin curl down here if I'm having a lot of trouble with something. But I'm going to leave that out for now. Keep blending here. And you'll be able to tell at this stage if you put your pins too far away from your scalp, because it really has to be tightly right up against it to be able to wrap those extra strands. Okay. So now go ahead and take your rat tail comb or your fingers, whatever you'd like, and make sure that it's even. Like I said, this side of my hair is the one that always splits, so it takes a lot more effort to work with it. And you can see right here my hair kind of goes like this, and then right here it separates, so work with your own hairline and see what it does. But either way, it should be a smooth tube all the way around. but it is a looser look, so I personally prefer it when it has a little bit of bump versus perfectly smooth, because I personally think it's a little bit more period accurate for the casual kind of look that we're going for. So now, take down the hair, and you'll see the shape beautifully flows into the rest of it. You don't have to worry about your limp bangs or anything, but take your brush and go ahead and smooth the rest of the hair back out. Sometimes I'll work to get a bit more of a flip, like that, depending on how my wet set turned out or how I've been styling it previously. And then the back you can style however you would like. Mine kind of naturally falls like this, and I like the way it blends into the rest of the hair. But I will use some kind of oil in my hair to smooth it out a little bit, because I haven't styled it at all today. I've just brushed through. So this will kind of tame some of that frizz. If you'd like, you can use duckbill clips and set them along the bottom in whatever areas you would like to sort of set that gentle wave. Now when you're doing this, you're basically, since it's such a loose style that doesn't take much pinning and all that stuff, you do have to look around a lot after you've done it to make sure that everything looks okay. So I'll check from side to side and make sure that it's kind of straight here, and I prefer when it sticks out a bit. Instead of laying flatter like you can see here. Drop my comb, use a brush. So I'll pull this side out a bit if I can. Make it feel a bit rounder instead of falling flat. And then curve these strands back around. If you're trying to wear this style on a windy day, obviously you would just pin these in place. But I find that for a normal day of wear, they're just gonna stay there, and I kind of like them popping around a little bit. So then you can also check the top. I can feel that there's a hairpin there that's sticking out too much for my liking, so reorient it. There we go. So then you can go ahead and take a pin and do what I mentioned to the bangs right here if you'd like. And you can pin it down so it'll emulate the other side more. You can try to round out this side by pinning it like this, though that's a bit trickier to manage. But otherwise, there's your finished do. And at the end, I also like to flip this side a bit more instead of just wrapping around, so it blends into the hairline more successfully. Right, so now I'll show you how to add little accessories if you would like to. So for the final step, you'll want to grab your hair scarf, if this is how you want to accessorize it. Make sure it's rolled up into rectangular shape. And then wrap it around the bottom of your hair. Make sure it's under. And then pull it up And make sure it's behind those rolls. And this is great because it'll help cover any frizzies there. If you don't want to bother with them, it's what makes it so fast. You don't have to smooth it out that much or care about the hairpins terribly if you use the headscarf. So then what I'll do is actually pull out these strands that I blended in before on each side. Kind of hard to see doing it without the mirror. Okay. And then go behind those. And tie into a bow. And you can offset to this side if you like, or keep it in the middle. I prefer it in the middle because it makes me think of Snow White. Okay. So now you're going to take these little strands and do the exact same thing as before. Just twist them and blend them into the tube. But this time, since you have the hair scarf, it becomes much easier and you can just tuck the strands in. So then it blends the headscarf in, keeps it closer to the front instead of slipping back throughout the day. And it looks super cute. So again, just pull around and tuck into the bottom. And if there are any that are too high, which can happen sometimes, then you can try to pull them down a little unless that messes up your hair, which it did in this case. And then you can just tuck it under the headscarf and kind of camouflage it and hide it completely. And then it just has the little end peeking out there. So then it's blended in. Headscarf's super cute. And at this stage, you'll probably want to go in and kind of smooth things out a little bit. But like I mentioned, I prefer it being loose and cute the way that it is. That way, if something happens to it throughout the day, it doesn't look like I messed up my updo. It's just kind of the way it looks. So then with this, since these scarves are super slippery, although you kind of tied the hair around it on each side, it's still going to want to slip back. So I always pin it once on each side. And as close to the center of the bow as possible so that then when you fix up your bow, it'll kind of cover those hairpins. And there you go. An adorable kind of Snow White 40s casual half updo. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.